Okay, I'm going to try two different recipes I'm putting together to make a red velvet sugar-free ice cream, because I found this red velvet at emulsion flavor at Michael's. And of course, I already had the cream cheese one. So I've been researching regular recipes with heavy cream and stuff, and also ideas on how you use black cocoa instead. Anyway, so I'm going to try two different recipes that I put together, and then later I'll tell you which one I like better. One's going to be 3 points, and that's because I'm going to use the Premier protein, and it does have 30 grams of protein though in it. And the other, instead of that, it'll be the same ingredients, only I will use unsweetened almond milk and the Greek yogurt. 0 points for the amount of ingredients I'm going to use. So on those, and the only thing going to count is a tablespoon of the pudding. So also I was going to say about this black cocoa, I've been reading a lot about it, and it says Dutch process, so it's got to be good since I'm Dutch. Anyway, so I'm going to try it. It was a little pricey on Amazon. It was like $16, I think. No, $14 on Amazon for 16 ounces. And it's a powder. It looks just like black powder mud, kind of, but only real powdery. And so it is a richer cocoa. The regular Hershey's dark cocoa, you can get at Walmart for like $9 for the same amount. So you're going to pay around $5 more for this. I'm going to see if it's worth it, so I will let you know. So I'm going to get started. Okay, I'm making the 1.1 first. I've got my little camera thing here around my neck, so I hope it doesn't get too jumpy. Anyway, so I've got 1 cup of the non-fat plain Greek yogurt, all measured out. I like to use my, if I lose you here, it's because I'm trying to do 2 things here at once. I like to use my NutriBullet to blend my recipes, because I find out if you blend them really good, it gives it more volume and they taste better. Plus you gotta really, if you do this by hand, you gotta really whip a lot, let me tell you. So I've got 1 cup of the non-fat plain Greek yogurt. If you're doing Weight Watchers, that's 0 points. 3/4 of a cup. Let's see if I can do this without moving it. Here we go. Of the vanilla, unsweetened vanilla almond milk that I get from Costco. If you do 3/4 a cup, it's 0 points. If you do 1 cup, it's 1 point. So I just do a little more yogurt for 0, and then only 3/4 of that. That's why that's 3/4. I'm going to set that aside. I'm going to set this aside. So, sorry, this isn't as professional as I usually do. I'm just too busy to get everything out today. This is a taste test. Okay, so the next thing I've got here on my 1 point recipe here, I got my little notes down. I'm going to do a tablespoon. I'm going to do this also for both recipes. A tablespoon of the vanilla sugar-free pudding. Let me see if I can do this down a little more so you can see it. So just add stabilizer to your ice cream. I'm going to do 1 teaspoon of the xanthan gum. I used to do a 1/2 teaspoon, and you can do a 1/2 teaspoon or a teaspoon, whatever you prefer. It says it's actually stronger if you use the xanthan instead of the guar gum, but I've heard that the guar gum is more popular in liquids. But I've had the xanthan gum. I'm going to use it up, then I'm going to try the guar gum I bought. So far, the xanthan gum works great. Okay, so I've got my xanthan gum in there. Now I'm going to add my yogurt, not my yogurts, my extracts. And you can add vanilla extract. Actually, I usually do, but since I've got vanilla almond milk and I have vanilla pudding, I don't think I need to add any more vanilla. So I'm going to add 1 tablespoon of the dark cocoa, and I put it in one of my little containers. This is that Dutch dark cocoa, black cocoa that I bought, all natural, called Eat Well. That's kind of pricey, but we'll see. And so I'm going to do 1 tablespoon of it for 0 points. It's going to go in here. Making a little mess here, but it's okay. And then after that, I'm going to do a pinch of salt. Now, sometimes a pinch of salt can get out of hand. I actually found out I have these little measuring spoons. It says pinch of salt right on it. So I'm just going to scoop it in here, do a little pinch of salt. I can scoop it up, it's so hard to see it. There it goes, pinch of salt. And then I'm gonna add some sweetener. And I use the monk fruit erythritol. This one says Swerve, but it's actually another brand from Amazon that was a little cheaper that's just as good. So it's a erythritol monk fruit. I'm going to add, because it's dark cocoa, I may have to do 4, but I'm going to start with 3 tablespoons of it and see how it goes. So 1, 2, and 3. Put this aside. And now I'm going to add, see, I've got everything in here except my other flavorings, my extracts. I'm going to add a teaspoon of the red velvet. That's this one, and a teaspoon, teaspoon of the red velvet, and a teaspoon of the cream cheese. And let me get the right one here a second. Okay, I've got a 1 teaspoon. I'm going to try 1 teaspoon first. Then I'm going to taste it after it's all mixed and see if I need to add any more. So 1 teaspoon. Make sure you shake these up really good first. Oops, that one hasn't even been used yet. Let me start with this one. This one is the cream cheese. I got 3 of these from Amazon. You can buy these also at Michael's. If you have a coupon, then that's even better. So I'm doing a teaspoon. I'm not for sure if a teaspoon will be enough. We'll see. And let me get this popped. Okay, I just shook up the red velvet. Be careful because it will make your fingers red. I just found out. Because it is red, it's going to add the red coloring. So I'm doing 1 teaspoon of the red velvet. I'll stir that around in there and kind of get some of that off the spoon. Ooh, it looks good. Now let me look at my list. I think I've got everything on there. Yep, everything's on. Now I'm going to put my lid on this. I'm going to put it in my NutriBullet. And I'm gonna let it spin and blend really well. I'll be right back. One more thing, I always shake it up real good before I put it. Ooh, look at it turn red. Make sure your lid's on good. I always kind of shake up my mixture before I put it in to be blended. Okay, it's all blended. Looks really good. I just taste tested it. Tastes really good. It's just not quite sweet enough, and I had a feeling that would be. That's why I did 3 tablespoons. I always, when I'm doing these taste tests, I start small and then add. So I'm going to add another tablespoon to make it 4 tablespoons because that cocoa is unsweetened, so you really need to put some sugar in it or sweetener in it. Also, I think I'm going to add another teaspoon of the red velvet to give it more of a red velvet taste. Okay, I'm adding 1 more tablespoon of the monk fruit, erythritol, whatever you call that. And I think I'm going to just not go overboard on. I wanted to add a little more of the red velvet and a little more of the cream cheese, but I don't think I should do it a whole teaspoon more. I'm just going to do a 1/2 teaspoon of each one. I just shook them up. Let's see if I can get back up and do this at the same time and watch this. Probably can't. So if I get off screen, sorry. Okay, there's 1 teaspoon red velvet. And now, not 1 teaspoon, I'm sorry, 1/2 teaspoon more. So that would make it 1 1/2. And then a 1/2 teaspoon of the cream cheese. And now I'm gonna blend it up and see if it tastes a little better. Okay, I just tasted it. It's divine. That's perfect. 1 1/2 teaspoons of both of the emulsion flavors, the red velvet and the cream cheese, and 1 extra tablespoon of the Swerve or monk fruit, whatever it is you use. Just made a big difference. So now it's all done. I'm gonna grab a container out of one of my little cute cozies, and I'm gonna pour it into here. The hardest part, like all of you know, is waiting till it freezes. Don't want to go past that line. It actually makes a little more, so I get to eat the yummies left. One of the things I find out with the light ice cream, everything says, freeze 24 hours. I have found out mine's always ready like at 12. Maybe because my freezer is set up high too, so everybody needs to adjust however. But usually in 12 hours, I can put this directly into the Ninja CREAMI and blend it. But let me see, it's almost 3 o'clock here, so I don't think I'll do it at 3 in the morning. I'll be doing this tomorrow morning, and I will give you the final results. This one is the 1.1. Now I'm going to go to the next one using the Premier Protein drink, and that one will be for 3 points. Next thing I want to do before I get mixed up is put one of my labels on here. And I have these little labels. They're really cheap. And I just write what it is on here, and they come right off before I wash them. And then I just put it what it is, red velvet 1 point. And then I'll put that on here, and then I know what it is, so I don't mix it up with the next one. Okay, now I'm going to do the one with the Premier Protein, 30 grams of protein. Super easy, shake it up good. Now this is only 11 ounces, and my pints are 16. You're going to get a little more volume when you add your other stuff, but not 16 ounces. So I have a little bit of the almond, unsweetened almond milk that I will top it off with to make sure I have the 16 ounces when I'm done. So there's that. After that, I'm going to put a tablespoon of pudding of the sugar-free vanilla pudding. Scoop that aside. A pinch, here's my little pinch thing of salt. Move that aside. And then the sorbet or the monk fruit, whatever you with Vital. I'm going to do 4 tablespoons since I know that worked best in the 1 point recipe. So he's going to do that here again. 2, 3, 4. Okay. And then I'm going to do 1 teaspoon of the gum. Just trying to find the one that I haven't got all messed up here. Let me get back. Okay, now I'm going to do 1 teaspoon of the gum. This is the xanthium or whatever. Use whatever you want. I find the 1 teaspoon works good for me. And then I'm going to add the cocoa powder. 1 tablespoon of this, what's called black cocoa, which is a dark Dutch cocoa powder. Got that in there. Let me see if I've got all my ingredients. The salt, all I need to do right now is add the emulsion flavors. Now, when I did the first one, I noticed, 1.5 works best. So 1.5 teaspoons of each of these. Just shook it up. This is the red. I'm going to do 1.5. There's 1.5. Might be a little over half, but it doesn't matter. Kind of hard to tell when I'm doing this. Okay. And then I'm going to wipe my hands on my little kitchen bowl towel that I keep on me. And then I'm going to shake up the emulsion cream cheese one, and I'm going to do 1.5 of it. Somebody wrote on one of my posts that you don't have to use these, that if you are using like the pudding or whatever, oops, that's almost, just when you add the lemon with it, that makes it into a cream cheese flavor. Now, I always usually add the lemon with it for cream cheese. I am not adding it with this because I think it might be a little overpowering. So I'm glad I have the cream cheese emulsion because I don't think I would want to put the lemon with this one. But the other ones, I do the lemon plus the emulsion. Anyway, so I've got all of those in there. Let me check off my list. Almond milk. The almond milk will go in next. The vanilla pudding, I'll have to look back here. Did I put the pudding in? Good thing I was videoing this. I was able to go back and look, and yes, I did already put the pudding in. Busy talking sometimes, I don't know for sure what I'm putting in here. Now all I'm going to do is shake this up. It's going to go in my NutriBullet to blend, and I'll be right back. Okay, I poured this into a container, and it almost fills it, but it's very thick, which is good. But instead of just trying to top the container off the little milk, because I think it might be too much, I'm just going to go ahead and pour 1/4 of a cup. These little measuring cups are so cool. It's 4 tablespoons into the mixture. This is 0 points of the unsweetened almond milk. Put it back into my blender and blend it up, and then it should be just perfect then. I'll have a little left over to eat too. Yum. Okay, I think this will do it. And it's still pretty thick, but that's good. It's not quite as thick. The other I had to spoon out, and I'm not sure if I would want it that thick. But anyway, that's, like I said, added 1/4 of a cup of non-fat, plain almond milk. That's 4 tablespoons. 1/4 of a cup is 4 tablespoons. And now I'm gonna get just the right size out of here, and a little bit left over to munch on, which is good because it's 3 o'clock and I haven't had lunch. Been trying to look up recipes, and I cannot find any Weight Watcher recipes for this. So, you know what? I'm getting creative here, and that's the way I make a lot of my recipes and keep off over 70 pounds. So, here we go. That filled it up good. Now I'm going to put the lid on it and put my little tag on it. And this is actually 4 points instead of the 1 point, because of the Premier protein drink is 3 points. And we'll see which one turns out better. If the other one's close enough, I will go with the 1 point so I can add other mix-ins I might want. Or if I don't want to do any mix-ins, this is great for 4 points. Yay. Okay, I marked it with my little label, so I know this one's 4 points. Wanted to add, now the hard part comes, is the waiting. The waiting. It'll be tomorrow morning. I will try both of them and do a final video with me in it tasting them. Okay, I just got back from, actually I had to go to the dentist, which was okay. And then I had to go watch my little grandkids for a couple hours. So I just got back. I wanted to finish this video before I make our dinner because it'll be getting dark. I'm not sure how the lighting looks anyway. So I pulled them out of the freezer. They've been in the freezer like 3 hours and they're really hard again. So I put it in the microwave for like 30 seconds. Now I'm gonna put the lid back on. I'm gonna put it back into the CREAMI, and I'm going to go ahead and do it on the regular ice cream, light ice cream I mean, and then I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back, and let me take this out. Got a little confused here for a second, sorry. Let me see how it turned out. This is on the next spin. Oh boy, it looks really good. Very yummy, very good. And like I said, I already did it earlier. It's a little bit softer respinning it this time, so maybe I should have put it on the ice cream one. Take my glasses off, because before on the other one it was very firm. But this is the 1 point. So good. Oh my gosh, I can't stand it. I haven't had dinner yet. It's maybe my dinner. Now I'm going to try the next one. I'll be right back. Okay, now on to the next one. The second recipe. This is the one that has 4 points. And because I made it, this one with the Premier Protein Vanilla, and the other was with yogurt and almond milk as the liquid base. The rest of the ingredients are the same. And this one here that I just re-creamed, I had already did it earlier, was real, it's still pretty thick. Somebody I read said when they do a re-spin after it's already been spun before, they just put it on ice cream. So I'm gonna try this on ice cream and see how it turns out. I'll let you know. Finished. Take this out. Let me see how it did doing it on the ice cream spin. Now it's pretty thick. I can't hardly get this off. Oh, there. That's probably better if you want it thicker, because see, this isn't as thick, but actually it tastes like a Frosty. This one is very thick, because when I put it back on spinning it like ice cream is like from the very beginning. And so I like mine a little bit firmer if I'm gonna do mix-ins, but this is good too. So this one here is 4 points. Very good. This one I can scoop out with a scooper. That's only because I mixed this on the second time on the light, and I like I said, I read somewhere on the second time if you spin it on ice cream, it won't, it will be thicker. So we'll see. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to do a little circle, a little hole here in the middle. Kind of harder with this one because this one is very soft. I'm going to put a tablespoon of the Lily's baking chips. These are the baking chips, you know, where you find the chocolate chip baking chips, you know, Nestle's and stuff. And these are smaller, so I don't have to break them up. A big heaping tablespoon of these. It's only 1 Weight Watcher point on these. And they taste really good. Put that down in there. I'm gonna stick this back in the machine. I kind of usually push it down, make sure that the top, cover the top a little bit here. It's been a long day. And then I'm gonna go back in the machine and I'm gonna put it on mix-in and then it's gonna be done. Okay, I just finished the second one with the mix-ins and it's still really thick. So I think when you're doing these, the ones that are the light ice cream, do it first on the spin, on the light ice cream spin. And then if you're going to be doing it again, then do it on the ice cream spin. Or, that's only because I took it out of the freezer and had to redo it. I should have just did it on the ice cream spin. When you take it out of the freezer, if you've already creamed them before and stuck them back in the freezer, when you take them back out, this time do it on the ice cream spin. So it has a little more consistency than this, but this is really good anyway. So this one is a little bit thicker, and this is the 4-point, and you can do really good scoops. That one would have done just the same as scoops because it was thicker, except I spun it on the light ice cream both times. And so that's how it turned out. This one's 4 points, and this one's 1 point. And I put a tablespoon of the sugar-free Lily's baking chips in for 1 more point, so 2 Weight Watchers points. This one here, I put a tablespoon in. This one's 4 points, and with the 1 tablespoon, this one's for 5. I think they taste the same. Probably this one is a little richer tasting, but this one is just as good. And for 1 point, so I can add in other stuff that I like, this is the one I'm gonna stick with. Enjoy. See you on my next video. Bye.